My exact system I've used to go from 0 figures all the way to 8 figures with wholesaling real estate. That's right, guys. For the first time ever, I'm going to give you my 9 exact steps I have done in my entire life to get from $0 to millions of dollars wholesaling real estate. And more specifically, I'm going to put it in steps and terms so you can do the same exact thing to go from 1 to 2 to 3 all the way to 9 so you can make millions of dollars. If you don't know who I am, my name is Zach Ginn. I am one of the largest wholesalers in wholesaling real estate. I'm 25 years old, and since I was 17, so the past 8 years, I've done more wholesaling deals than 99.9% of wholesalers out there. As of this recording, I've closed over 2,500 wholesaling real estate deals. That's right, 2,500 deals over the past 8 years. And you're probably watching this, and maybe it's the first time you're seeing like, wow, why is this YouTube channel so big? It's because I've documented my journey from pretty much making 6 figures all the way down to 8 figures now wholesaling real estate. And my influence has only grown because I'm the only guy in wholesaling real estate that actually teaches you how to wholesale real estate for free. Right, this channel is the only free education in wholesaling real estate from start to finish absolutely for free. So now you know about me. What I want you to do is copy my system. And I know a lot of people are very contentious of, Zach, it's my secret system. You've copied me, this copied me. And let me set the record straight. Everything you know about wholesaling real estate has been copied from somebody else. You're just mad that somebody stole your treasure when you stole that treasure for somebody else. Let me kind of explain this. Right here we have the holy grail of wholesaling real estate books. This is a book I found in a garage on one of my flips about 4 or 5 years ago, and this is a book that is not in published anymore. It's called How Real Estate Fortunes Are Made by George Bockle. Very, very difficult to get these copies because they weren't really that important. This is a book from 1972 talking about wholesaling real estate investing, syndications, marketing for a real estate investing business, and pretty much what we know about wholesaling real estate today is on this holy book. And just to give you some of the table of contents, right? He doesn't call it wholesaling, but it's like leveraged real estate investing, profiting quick on deals and using other people's cash, taking over properties subject to the existing mortgage, payments, lease options, all these things. Wholesaling alike, sales, marketing is all in this book. To even go further on this, all of the closing tactics that you think somebody invented in wholesaling real estate has already been done. For example, Rick taught me about going for no and 5-step sales processes in wholesaling real estate because he learned from a guy from the 90s. And Rick actually has books here that I've read for a very long time. This is called How to Master the Art of Selling from Tom Hopkins. And this is a book from 1982. It talks about how to go for no, how to do test closes, 5 steps for selling deals. That's right. I never invented the 5-step closing formula, method, whatever you want to call it. I've learned from the largest sales trainer in the world. This is called the sales Bible pretty much. It's called Reaching the Top, 6 Steps Closing the Sale from the Top Performers by Zig Ziglar. Another book from the 80s. And this is one of my favorite books ever for sales. It teaches you a 5-step framework for closing deals. And so I never invented closing. I never invented marketing. I didn't invent wholesaling real estate. The only thing I think I've invented was giving the information out for the masses absolutely for free, an actual multi-millionaire giving it out. So now we understand exactly that nothing is really secret information in wholesaling. So that being said, what I'm going to do is have you actually steal my entire system of how I've been able to get massively rich in wholesaling real estate from no money to scaling. Pablo Picasso says this, good artists copy, but great artists steal. And he's not saying that to take intellectual property, but he's saying that every piece of art has kind of been imitated from another piece of art. And to understand this, you just got to copy my system and make it your own and get you rich. So let's, without further ado, break this all down and share step by step how to get rich wholesaling real estate with my system. So step 1, we are having 3 categories here, right? We have category grind, scale, and influence, which means we're making 100 grand, then we're making 100 to a million, and then a million plus. But the first one, number 1, is what I call the marketing grind. And this is kind of the one where most beginners start at. And what I mean by this is a grind that you're getting started wholesaling, right? Like you need to get that first deal. You need to make your first 20 grand. A little bit about me, I made over $20,000 my first wholesaling deal at 17 years old. So this is how long I've been in this business for. And the getting started period of wholesaling is 100% a grind. It is not fun. It is a pain in the butt. But this is our come up Rocky scene, right? This is our ba ba ba. This is our training. This is our Tom Brady at college, right? We're on the come up here. And what specifically I would tell you to be doing, especially in this marketing grind phase, is number 1, focus on doing 100 contacts a week. I cannot stress this enough, but doing 100 contacts a week is 100% what I'm recommending any and every beginner to be doing. wholesaling. More specifically, a contact is just a hello. Yes, this is the owner of the property, and actually having a conversation with that homeowner. The problem is people think I'm saying 100 calls or 100 texts. No, 100 contacts. On top of this too, I think you should focus on the core 3 where 80% of people get their first deal. Now there's so much more we can be doing, and if you go to my free course, Wholesaling.com, I will break down all the strategies that, heck, you can do too to get rich wholesaling. But one thing I will tell you is if you're gonna focus on 3, I would say cold calling, SMS texting, and reverse drawing for dollars is a complete must getting started as a beginner. On top of this too, the lists that I'd be targeting are gonna be government lists, which are niched out data from the government that costs no money at all. Yes, you do not need any money. Let's write this in green so we understand what budget we need to get started wholesaling. This is why I love wholesaling. This is why I'm the only guy that teaches it for free, because I'm the only person that actually believes and shows you how to do it with no marketing cost at all. So we're gonna be stuck on niche lists, 2 lists that aren't actively on these crazy big paid softwares, right? Pre-foreclosures, tax delinquencies, things like this. On top of that too, you can get a free trial to xleads.com. That is my preferred wholesaling software. You get 1,000 free skip trace leads if you get the trial at xleads.com. So that's why I'm including it, because we give 1,000 free skip traces out. So xleads.com is how you do it. And then on top of this, and probably one of the most important parts, and I hate to tell you, like, this has been said forever now in wholesaling, but consistency, 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 and that's the dang truth, right? Repeat, repeat, repeat. You're going to have to repeat this process systematically, day in, day out, week in, week out, until you start getting leads, results, contracts, deals. And then on top of that too, I really am a big proponent on this, but this is test, test, test. What did I say? Test! Guys, you have to go experiment out here for wholesaling. We got to figure out what marketing channels are working, what lists are working, right? So is calling getting me results? Is texting getting me results? What is actually moving the needle forward in my wholesaling business? Is putting a sticky note on a pre-foreclosure doing the deals? Is it not? We got to figure out what is working and what isn't. And the best answer is, if you've done a deal, how do you get the deal? Well, obviously that is working, so let's keep doing that and then keep going from there. Now, the arrow here is going to bring us to number 2. And number 2 is we're going to have to start closing sellers. And this is when you have to learn the close system, right? This is a 5-step system for closing sellers and deals. And again, I've never invented the art of closing deals. I've shown you I'm a big proponent of Zig Ziglar, really old school sales tactics, because there's so many ways to close a seller, but most of it is just qualifying. So I'm kind of using close because it's a really easy acronym and some easy words next to it. So it really breaks down the entire closing method for wholesaling real estate. Yap all you want, be a hater if you want. No one invented this method. This is a method that I've used, I saw from Rick and from books from the 70s, 80s, and those guys learned from the 20s about closing. But if I use the method close, right? Alex Mosey has a system called closer. I kind of just call it close. And some acronyms on here too. Is condition, lowball, offer, sorry, and explain the process. What I mean by this is, if we were to learn how to close a deal right, we just do close, right? Number 1, condition. What you want to do is condition the seller. What I mean by this is making sure before you give an offer to a motivated seller, they are ready to make a yes or no decision before you give the offer out. The most stupidest closing thing I've ever seen is, oh, I could offer you $350. I'll think about it. You're cooked. You're done. They're going to go to somebody else, and boom, you lost the deal. It's one of the most cardinal sins I've seen wholesaling real estate acquisitions, and something I never have my team do. What you want to do is condition the seller. Make sure they're ready to make a yes or no decision. Make sure all the decision makers are there before you make the offer. And it's not a hard decision. Hey, are you ready to make a decision before I break down the offer? Yes or no? It's a pretty simple question. Number 2, lowball, lowball, lowball. Yes, your seller is trying to highball you. So what you need to do is lowball and then do something magical in wholesaling called negotiation, where, yeah, they might want $500 for their house, but that's not the least that they're going to take. That's just their starting price, right? You don't want to take the first offer out there, right? You want to negotiate from there. So if someone sells for $500, offer them $300. You'll be shocked how many of these sellers will actually take $350, not the $500 price they want, right? It drives me crazy when wholesalers try to say, you can't lowball, blah. Guys, lowballing is the key to making massive assignment fees. Guys, you want to make $60 grand next month, lowballing is the key. On top of that too, here is just the offer. Guys, the offer is simple. The offer is easy. You just gotta do it, right? And what I mean by this is a lot of people overcomplicate offering and closing, all these things. Just offer the seller a agreement price to get a property under contract or get an agreement signed. Simple as that. Guys, if you can do it in person, it'd obviously be better for closing sellers, but still not the end of the world. So go out out here and make an offer, be firm with it, and be super confident when you get that offer. 4 is sorry. And you might be like, wait, why do you say sorry? Well, there is some sort of apologizing when it comes to my system for closing sellers. Now, I hear people say, Zach, oh, you're using the imaginary friend method. I've been getting that comment a lot lately, and it's kind of funny. That's not at all what I do. Because what I used to do when I was a brand new beginner in wholesaling was sometimes I'd call Rick up and say, hey, what do you think I should offer the seller? And he'd say, I don't know, like 300 probably. And I'd say, okay. And I used to tell the seller, like, hey, I was talking to my partner Rick, and he wants me to buy this for around 300. I'm like, that's way too low. I'm like, whoa, sorry, but like, that's what he said. Like, I'm the decision maker here. And I found out when I started doing that, I started closing more sellers. And when I gave an insulting lowball offer, they're never mad because we blame the other party. And now I don't use an imaginary friend, right? Because I actually, with all my acquisitions agents, I actually am the partner, and I pretty much write on the podium. I write in the CRM what our MAO roughly should be and what our LAO, our least allowable offer, our initial offer should be. And really, we like apologizing with the offer because we apologize if they get offended from it. If they're not offended, then maybe go even lower and get the most money. Wholesaling real estate is about making that moolah. It's not about making $5,000 or $10,000 assignment fees. It's about making massive pops for changing your life. 5 here is just explain the process. I don't think this is done enough in wholesaling, especially when it comes to the acquisition side. But when you have a seller and you give them the agreement, right, the contract, they're going to have questions. They're naturally going to want to know, what is this process like after I sign the contract? What does this contract say? And all these things. And a lot of us just assume that they should know all about contract law and how contracts and the closing process is. But one thing we do sell in wholesaling real estate is certainty, right? Certainty that we are going to get this over the finish line, certainty that we are the right partners, and explaining about how the contract works, what an inspection period is, what title company they're going to be dealing with, how your partner is going to come by, right? This is another big part. Just make them comfortable with a cash buyer coming through the property. How our process works is one of our partners is going to come by with us to just go over the property, maybe do some estimates and just have a look at it. What's a good time for them to come over in the next couple of weeks, right? Just doing that really smoothly is a great way to get that over the finish line. Number 3, we're doing deals, we're closing sellers, and we got to dispo it. We got to sell the wholesaling deal, right? And this comes back to dispoing or dispositioning with our buyers here. And this is basically a 5-step process or a 5 ways to find your right cash buyer or to dispo your deal. Number 1, I would recommend you go to xleads.com. Xleads, again, is an amazing dispo software. You can try it out 7 days for free. On top of that, the free options are going to be, number 1, just going to Zillow, going to the for rent section, finding buyers that are actually listing their property for rent. It's a great way to find buyers. Facebook groups, there's a ton of cash buyers in Facebook groups still to this day. I know it sounds crazy, but there are. Realtors are a good source of buyers. Heck, your title company has buyers. It's a great way to find wholesaling real estate cash buyers. On top of that too, you can do a cash buyers database filter on XLeads, like cash sales, things like that. Great way to get your deal dispoed. Now, this system is easily going to make us 6 figures, right? We have the marketing. We know how to basically close a deal. We know how to find the buyer. Really, like, we have a good grasp on how to get started wholesaling. But once we get to the point where we hit 6 figures, right? It took me about a year to hit that. You start getting into the 250, 500, heck, even 900 grand a year range. We're going to have to go from being a grinder or a guy that's grinding or a gal that's grinding all the time to someone that's just scaling out a business, right? And you can technically do this all by yourself. There are harder ways, there are easier ways to do this, but still not a terrible way to do it. And so the first thing we have to understand, step 4 here, right, is systems. And most importantly, systems for going actually out here and making our income expand, where we work less, but we get in front of more sellers, we get more offers, we get more assignments done, and we make more money while working less. Now, this is when things get a tad complicated. Not going to lie, we're going to have to start kind of hunkering down here. And so right here are what we call systems. And really there is 6 systems that we have to really grasp starting out to start scaling our operation, right? Number 1, I'm going to say, is hiring the lowest ROI or ROT tasks. So ROT is an acronym called return on time and return on investment, right? So what are the tasks where I can hire somebody for $6 an hour, but if I can go do more time closing sellers and more time on the scaling side, the marketing side, the disposition side, I can get $300, $400, $500 an hour, right? This is mostly going to be VAs, virtual assistants, right? Marketing VAs, maybe even acquisitions people in-house, Americans that we can do. There are so many different type of tasks we can hire out, which we're going to show later today on how to do. It's a great thing to do. On top of this too, your first hires when it comes to scaling a wholesaling operation should always be for your marketing and dispositions. Now, marketing first and then dispo. Acquisitions get scaled out the last because, in my opinion, that is the hardest to scale, hardest to find the top people in the industry just with employees to do the correct way. They're the most intense for training, and they're kind of the bottleneck if you can't get that right? I can kind of get a cold caller that kind of messed up, bring a new one in a week or two and kind of be okay with it. Dispositions also can do that too because they can't really screw up the entire deal. Acquisitions, if they can't close it, that is the true bottleneck I see with a lot of things. So that is who we scale out last. Now, the best sentence I can give to anybody scaling or to actually start getting momentum and traction in their business is just a simple two-step process, right? And I know it sounds so simple, but simplicity, as the great Bill Gates, one of the richest men of all time, and if he didn't give away like 80% of his wealth, I think he'd be the most wealthiest man in the world by the numbers, right? He's always said, simplicity scales, complexity fails. And the things that are simple that you can scale out will make you more money. The complex things that you try to scale never ever work. And specifically, I found the system myself of stick to what's working and just do more of it. So if, like I've said, cold calling a code violation or cold calling a vacant list on X Leads or the AI list on xleads.com, right? If that is where we're getting a lot of deals, if that is where we're getting success in wholesaling, you're dang right, we're gonna stick to doing that. And if we have things that just aren't working, right? Like, for example, I tried really hard with Facebook ads, and as much as I've wanted to make it work, and as much as I've wanted it to just keep having an insane ROI, it just wasn't working in my business. So we eliminated it, right? It doesn't work, so we don't do it. But again, we still follow the rule of testing things out, right? I'm a big proponent of testing out PPL leads and PPC and SEO, and personally, I've not found them to be good fruition for success for me and my company and for the vast majority of wholesalers that are not a guru. So I don't do it, but of course I've tested it out. Then from there, kind of when we start hitting the 250 a year, 300K in profit, we have to start going into what I call the big boy marketing plays. And this is when we start taking a little more risks, but we have a lot more rewards, right? So this is when you start with massive postcards, big Facebook advertising campaigns, because some people can scale that out, way more cold callers, way more texting, way more systems, and just try all these different marketing things. This is when we start doing what the big boys start doing. And then on top of there, we kind of have this kind of hidden there, but lastly is go virtual, where I think everyone who's starting to make some money in their local market, they should try to find or adopt a virtual market per se, a market where beginners can actually go out here and have success. And if you're an expert, you can go out here and absolutely kill it. My first markets I ever did was, of course, Port St. Lucie, kind of South Florida where I live right now and I grew up, but I found a lot of success going out here and doing Knoxville, Tennessee and Detroit, Michigan as my first virtual wholesaling markets, and that expanded my income. I think my ROI was just a lot worse for those virtual markets than in person. It's a lot easier to scale big virtual markets like that. There's a big learning curve, especially in Detroit for me. But once I figured it out, I started making more money. Now going on to number 5, we're kind of getting the systems together. We kind of have to talk about our employee hiring order, right? Where's the order that we are going to start hiring employees? And I'd say it's about 4 we could kind of focus on. Now, I don't want to get too crazy complicated on this because just more employees, obviously the better if you can train them right. But number 1 are going to be virtual assistants, right? Calling, texting, list, whatever type of VA it is, right? You get a VA to start cold calling for you, a VA to start texting for you, a VA to start doing lists, pulling the probates, pre-foreclosures, code violations, right? Those are absolutely amazing. I would start them off around $6 an hour. That's probably what I would say, and hire them up even more if they're doing better. Now, there's a lot of controversy. Oh, I should get a VA for $3 an hour or $4 an hour. And the honest dang truth is you get what you pay for some of these VAs. I like to have extreme proficiency, E1 or E2 proficiency, I think is the term for it, where their English is really, really dang good, and you're not gonna kind of notice or pick it up. Those VAs with really bad accents are getting paid $3 or $4 an hour, when the ones that are winning $6 and $7 an hour have really, really good English, where I can't really tell. If you're sitting with them for a while, you could probably tell. But for initial phone call, most of these sellers aren't gonna know the dang difference. So $6 an hour is what I'd say. I know it's a controversial take, but a $6 VA from the Philippines is gonna be way better than a $6 in Mexico or Central America. Egypt is a very, very close second. I like Egyptian cold callers, but for calling, texting lists, I'd stick to Filipino VAs. Onlinejobs.ph is by far one of my favorite ways to do it. That is how you get VAs, number 1. Now, number 2 are going to be what we call lead managers. Now, this isn't what I call an acquisitions role, but maybe somebody who kind of follows up the leads, right? You're going to be finding that a lot of your time is spent on appointments and finding buyers and all these great things, right? But like no one's really following up with your leads for you. And of course we have X leads, which are great follow-up campaigns and sequences and things like that. But still, it doesn't hurt to have somebody actually call the leads, see how they're going. Well, Zach can come by and actually see you at the property at this time and kind of manage the leads, and then they kind of quarterback it for you to start closing the sellers. A lead manager or a junior acquisitions manager, whatever you want to call them, starting at $7 an hour and a certain percentage of the deal, maybe 1%, is a great way to get someone to qualify the leads for you, talk to them in your CRM, especially if you're getting a ton of inbound and you can't handle it. It's a great way to do it. So lead manager would be number 2. Number 3 is going to be our dispositions manager to fully do our dispositions. Mostly they're going to be going out here and finding buyers. Now at this point, I would probably 100% get X leads because they have a whole disposition suite in the pro plan where you put the zip code, find the top buyers, has unlimited free skip tracing rights, so they can just call inside of X leads. And I'd pay them about $7 an hour or a certain percentage too, probably 2 or 3% of the deal. I know it sounds like that's a lot, but if you get a really good dispositions manager, you're going to be good there. And then lastly, it's going to be our acquisitions manager or our closing manager or closer, whatever it is, right? This is what I'm talking about, more of an in-person role. So if you're locally wholesaling real estate, I'm going to say you should probably have them as an American, as someone relatable, at about 20% of the deal. Now you might be like, whoa, Zach, that's way too much money. And honestly, like I kind of get it, right? I've had acquisitions managers where I've paid them 10%, where I've paid them 15, 33%, right? I've been through all the percentages, and what I found is 20% is the sweet spot where they're not killing you on the deal. They're making a really good salary. Like they should be at minimum making 6 figures. That is my rule for every acquisitions manager in my company. They got to be 6-figure employees. And you find 6-figure employees are a lot different than $30,000 and $40,000 a year salary employees in the United States of America, right? This is almost doctor level. This is almost lawyer level, right? Where there is a certain part of professionalism and skill needed to be done here that is way beyond the average American. And so we want to do about 20% of the deal. I, at some point, decided that I went even above that, where I paid them about $3,000 a month just as a draw. So when they made $5,000 or $7,000 a month, right, they only got 4 because I gave them the $3,000 up front. So they got paid on the first. So, you know, real estate deals kind of take forever sometimes. Another controversial take I'm going to tell you, and I know people are going to just attack me on the internet, but treat your employees like employees. I know that's a crazy statement, but us real estate influencers and entrepreneurs, right, we like to put everyone as a 1099, and trust me, I love that, right? It's my favorite. But if you treat your acquisitions manager like an entrepreneur, they're eventually going to leave you like an entrepreneur. What is the biggest shackle, the biggest handcuffs that bosses have over their employees that makes them never want to leave? 2 things. Number 1, a 401k. You could set up a simple SEP and actually write off a percentage of their salary, which is pretty dang cool. But on top of that too is health insurance. And for most health insurance, if they're paying their deductible, it's going to be between $400 or $500 a month. Maybe it's more if they're a smoker or something like that. But like an extra $6,000, which you can kind of take off their salary if you want. That is something where I have found once you give them health insurance, they are not leaving your company, right? They were going to stay with you. And that's just part being a good employee, right? I got acquisitions managers making well over 6 figures. And because they have health insurance, they don't want to go anywhere. They're making more than doctors and lawyers because they're closing deals for me and they're doing big, massive deals. They have incentive to make 70, 80 grand and they learn from me and get some skills. Next here, we're starting to scale out. We're starting to get employees, right? We're on step 6 here. I don't know. These are going to be some simple success tips when coming to scaling your business, right? Number 1, I would say, is start small. I think we got to start working on just kind of one thing at a time. Maybe just one VA cold caller, right? Maybe having one VA do some marketing that we usually don't do. So if you're a guy who just only drives for dollars and you just reverse drive for dollars, you never call your leads, why don't you hire a VA who's going to do something you would never do, which is maybe call or possibly text, right? They're doing things that you wouldn't do, which means they are creating unlimited ROI for you, which we absolutely love. On top of the 2, I would say is just to keep growing, right? If you're scaling up and you're making more money, you want to keep hiring and hiring and hiring because it's going to eventually help you scale. Now, there's a point of diminishing returns. You got to kind of go through this gauntlet list here, but just keep constantly growing and constantly just making more and more money by having more employees, doing more tasks, which is expanding our deal flow. Now, 3 is probably the hardest lesson I learned in this business when it comes to making my first $1 million plus in like net profit. And this is learning to loosen your iron hold dictator grip on your business. And this is a very uncomfortable thing. I remember the first time I had an acquisitions manager go on an appointment without me training them. I was sweating. Like, I don't know if they're as good as me. I don't know if they can close the deal. Oh my gosh, we spent so much money on the marketing and they came back with an amazing contract, right? From that day, I started loosening my grip. I had VAs start producing leads. And when I have an army of 3 VAs cold calling for 24 hours in a day, and the most I could cold call is like 5 hours for the day, there was a point where the army just gets too big. One big example I always use is, how many Zach Gins does it take to beat LeBron in basketball? You might be like, LeBron will always beat Zach in basketball, which is 100% true. But what if there was 50 Zach Gins on the court? Do you think 50 of me's could beat one LeBron? Yes. Same thing like me versus Conor McGregor. If I fought Conor McGregor in the octagon, I would get absolutely destroyed. But if there was 15 of Zach Gins in there, I know I could beat Conor McGregor up. And the funny part about that is, yeah, one-on-one, you beat me. But if I have 15 or 20 of people on my side, the numbers just win, right? This is why the best wide receivers in football, if you double or triple cover them, there's no way they're going to do good. They usually leave somebody else open, which is football strategy, but I don't care how good of a wide receiver you are, if we have 2 or 3 guys on you, you're done. Number 4 here, trust but verify. One thing I could tell you in wholesaling real estate is you are going to get screwed when it comes to scaling. People are going to be haters. People are going to try to steal money out of your pocket every single dang day. I have people trying to steal my top buyers. Everybody says, Zach, why have you stopped telling people the exact addresses of the deals you're doing, especially your big deals, right? I used to have vlogs where I'm like, hey, here's the address. I made $100,000 in assignment fee. Boom, boom, boom. People started stealing my top buyers, my best buyers possible. It absolutely breaks my heart for that to happen. So that's why I kind of loosened it up where if you want my buyers, you're going to have to JV with me and then verify that I'm a closer, right? So you can actually watch this and be like, Zach, I don't know if I trust if you're a good wholesaler or not. Maybe you're just lying about everything. Well, I say, trust me, but also verify. Why don't you go in the comments and say, hey, has anybody ever done a JV deal with Zach? Is Zach actually legit? Has anyone here seen Zach close the deal, right? All these, like, just verify what I've done, right? So trust, but verify. It's very, very important that when you have a partner or somebody talking to you about wholesaling or a JV, right? Just trust them, but also verify them and make sure there's not a way for them to screw you. One example is if you're doing a JV with somebody, make sure that JV agreement is sent to the title company, because there's no way you can get screwed from the title company by sending the JV agreement there. Having your partner just trust me, bro, I'll send it over. Don't do that. Trust but verify. There are snakes in the grass in real estate. There are so many people looking to screw you on a deal. Just understand that. Even other wholesalers try to screw you on deals. This is why when I have leads sometimes, and I used to cold call my actual leads, people in the live stream would literally call the seller up, say, Zach's live streaming you, go with me instead. And it just absolutely is insane, some of the people on the internet. So just trust it. Just know that there's a lot of snakes in the grass, and it's not everyone. It's like 1% of the wholesalers out there, but still 1% of the millions of wholesalers out there gets a little scary. Number 5 here, marketing as an investment. This is a very important strategy and a very important key, but your marketing is not a cost. It is an investment, right? On average, for every $5 you spend in marketing, you should be making $25 back. So you should do a 5-to-1 investment for all of your marketing. It's usually the average, right? So if I invest $1,000 in letters or probate letters, I should probably make at least $5,000 in wholesaling deals. So just understanding that marketing is an investment. Do not look at it as just a cost, because then you're not going to market. Marketing makes you the money, especially when you're at this range when you're actually producing leads every single month. Without the marketing, you ain't getting the deals. On top of that too, only do investments in sure things. This is Zach's investment 101, right? So I tell everyone, like, buying real estate is one of the best things you can do for just a retirement or an investment, because real estate's been around for thousands and thousands of years. And if you look at the history of the United States of America, real estate has always gone up in value. So if I look at the past 200, 300 years in the United States of America, like 250, right? Real estate has only gone up because of the United States economy. I would say that's a pretty surefire, cool investment that I would say is very safe and good. Depends on the investment, obviously, or the piece of real estate you buy. Same thing on like important index funds. But the same thing about investments in your marketing. Only spend money in marketing, like big investments, right, on things that are actually producing you leads and producing you deals. If cold calling lists are producing you deals, then go all out and hire big marketing systems and lists and things like that, and expand that with cold calling, because it's already been working before. It's almost a surefire thing. Versus if you've never gotten a deal texting and spending 15 grand on a texting system for a month, probably not the best bet. Now, going here on the $1 million plus and all the way up to 8 figures, this is kind of unlimited territory we're talking about here. This is what I call influence. And this is when money starts getting kind of disgusting in wholesaling. And you see the biggest wholesalers starting to do this, and you kind of see the biggest brands start doing this, right? When you could start leveraging your scaling with an internet presence, this is when money starts getting crazy. And this is really when my income started skyrocketing in wholesaling. And I'll tell you a quick story about this. I was a wholesaler in Port St. Lucie, Florida, right? That is my main market and where I got my first deals. And ever since I started making a YouTube channel at 19 years old, like, hey, I made $50,000. Like, that's how I got very popular there on the internet about wholesaling. I was the only 19-year-old dude making 50 grand on a wholesaling deal. And I actually showed all my stuff, and then obviously influence going up, people started stealing all my deals. But the thing is, people are like, Zach, I actually have a deal in Port St. Lucie. I can't get it sold. Do you have buyers? I'm like, yeah, internet dude, I have a buyer. I'm like, great, well, I have it locked up for 100. Can you split the deal with me and we'll find a buyer? I said, perfect. Then I find a buyer. I find one for $50,000. I split it 50-50 with my title company. I make 25, they make 25. And in my mind's like, wait, I just made $25,000 from my YouTube channel and I spent 3 hours of work, total 5 with everything. I spent 5 hours to make 25 grand. I spent $0 on marketing. That is an unlimited return on my investment. All because somebody knew who I was on the internet and they knew I was trusted. Wow, that kind of changed my mind, right? And that was like, I had like 1,000 subscribers at the time on YouTube. And this is when I started just gaining influence in the space. And still to this day, I'm the only guy that has a free wholesaling course. I'm the only guy that mentors people for free, and the only free information on the internet about scaling, as you can obviously see. You start gaining influence. Now you might be like, Zach, should I start my own YouTube channel? Like, whoa. I'm asking you that. Like, I'm well into the 7 figures I've invested on my personal brands, on the internet, influencing things like that, but the return has just literally been infinite for it. But one thing I can tell you is you can have influence and be a quote influencer or have a social media presence where you're getting massive amount of deals without spending more than 5 or 6 hours a week doing this, right? And one massive thing you can do without being a guru is these important 5 things. So step 7 here is going to be becoming a local leader or a local mentor, right? Now, we are not being gurus. Repeat after me. I will not be a stupid broke guru. We're not selling $14,000 program. We're actually going to do something crazy. We are actually going to teach broke kids how to get rich wholesaling. You're like, wait, why would I do that? Because when they get a deal, they're going to come to you to help do the deal with them. And they're always going to be an asset for you. And they're like little minions, right? They're little deal finders. I mean, in my free wholesaling course, I have an army of 200,000 deal finders going in here and trying to find deals for me. I've seen one of the best things possible. So become a local leader, become a local mentor to newer wholesalers, right? One thing I will tell you is you should be at least a liquid millionaire, have at least $1 million in investments or making that at least in a year before you start teaching people wholesaling, right? It's just a personal selling point for me. But make sure you actually walk the walk. Then from there, go on the social media platforms, help people out genuinely for free. Like, don't sell the information, give your best information for free, and then ask for JVs. Hey, if you need help with your dispo, if you need help closing a deal, let me help you out. Split the deal 50-50, right? It's an amazing way to get deals. People do entire massive $15,000 courses on how to do this, right? I would say on top of that too, once you start doing deals, you should be creating your own little underwriting team to underwrite your deals. That is the hardest part about this process. And really understand the power of your network is your net worth. Then from there, step 8, it's like, well, okay, Zach, well, where do I start doing this influencing? When do I start talking to beginner wholesalers? Because now I'm successful, right? One thing I can tell you is you should go first and foremost to freewholesaling.com. Freewholesaling.com is not just a course anymore. It is a massive community. We have thousands and thousands of people in there chatting every single day that are going through the classroom section, right? The actual course. And now they're in the community section and the course section together, right? It is a community and a course together. That is, by the way, 100% free. That's how I roll here. Freewholesaling.com. From there, you can post and let people know who you are and comment, and it's an amazing thing to be doing. On top of it too, I have one of the largest wholesaling discords in the country. It is called ZachDiscord.com. It's one of the best communities out there. I absolutely love Discord. We actually go live in there every Friday at 8 p.m. So check it out. But ZachDiscord.com, by far and none, one of the best ways to start javing and networking with people. If you made over 250 grand a year or more, you can actually email me and I'll actually give you a green check mark in the Discord with your verified HUDs so people know you're actually a legit wholesaler to do JVs with. Then from there, like, go to the comment section of this video, go on my live streams and let people know who you are. If you're actually watching this, like, while you're listening, drop a comment. Hey, my name's Zach Ginn. I'm in this market. Hit me up. This is my email. I've closed this many deals thanks to Zach. Let's keep it going. And heck, if you say, hey, Zach, I actually learned from you, because if you actually learned from me, hey, I made 150 grand this year. Thank you so much. If somebody wants a JV, hit me up here. I'm going to shout you out. Of course, it makes me look good. Also, it shouts you out and gets you JV deals. People know you're legit, right? YouTube Lives, comments, an amazing place to be. And then last but not least, number 9 here, the secret sauce, the end game for me in wholesaling real estate. But the mix of your scaling, your deals with your influence is basically unlimited money. You could be getting 15, 20, 30 deals a month from all of these social media platforms. Guys, you gotta remember, I have millions and millions of followers throughout my Instagram, Facebook group. I have 146,000 people in Wholesaling Houses for Real. I have 250,000 people in my course. All the people in all 4 of my YouTube channels. Heck, 5 now, right? With the Excellent YouTube channel. channel. There are millions of people watching me. What you need to do is get some of those eyeballs to watch you inside of my platform, and you're going to be pretty much go out here and become a success wholesaling real estate. Guys, wholesaling real estate has completely changed my life. I've gone from somebody who was broke and had no money in high school to over 8 figures a year in profits wholesaling real estate. The thing is, really no other influencer in the wholesaling space can really talk about the amount of money me and Rick are making at this scale, because we believe in the power of karma, right? I give it all for free to you. I influence you to send me JV deals with Flipboard Plus, right? Now, obviously, I want you to go to X Leads, but using my influence and my skills to become a multi-millionaire wholesaler for you to go out here and get rich yourself and giving it all for free has blessed me more than it blesses you and the people making millions of dollars learning for free. So the power's in karma. The better you do and the more you give, the more you receive. And I don't do this just, oh yeah, if I do a video, I'm gonna make this much money. No, it's not because you're gonna send me 5 or 6 deals. I'm gonna make 50 grand from JV deals sent in this video, which I probably will. Probably closer to 100 grand if it blows up. If you hit that like button, subscribe, I probably will. The big videos get me hundreds of thousands of JV deals, right? But just because I'm willing to help people out, I make a ton of money through karma and just helping, not charging. And if you can just do a fraction of what I'm doing, you can go from 0 to a millionaire. No doubt, no cap, no doubt in my mind, you can't become a millionaire if you just put your mind to it and help people out. So follow this process, grind, marketing grind, go out here and market to sellers. Start closing with the CLOSE system. Find cash buyers, X Leads, Zillow, Facebook groups, realtors, title companies. Start implementing systems, hiring employees, successful tips here. Start building some influences on my platforms. Go through Wholesaling.com, sign up for there by the way, ZachDiscord.com, subscribe to the channel, go to the comment section, the lives, and combine your influence with deals for unlimited marketing. If you're ready to make a change in your life and become a success wholesaling real estate, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, go to Wholesaling.com, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach signing out. Have a blessed one.